Welcome to this data-driven explainer. Today, we're going to equip you with a crystal clear framework for choosing between two absolutely heavyweight Kansas City suburban markets in 2026. Whether you're a local trying to expand your portfolio or an out-of-state investor hunting for reliable returns, you've probably already zeroed in on the Kansas City metro. But as we're about to see, the real challenge, well, it's just beginning. Let's dive right in and figure out exactly how to strategize your next move.
Because honestly, the hardest part isn't deciding if Kansas City is a good investment. The economic fundamentals there are undeniably strong. The real puzzle, the one that literally keeps investors up at night, is deciding which side of the state line you should plant your flag on. You see, the metro is neatly sliced right down the middle by the Kansas-Missouri border, and depending on which side you pick, you are playing by a completely different set of rules. To crack this, we're drawing directly from the boots-on-the-ground expertise of Marcus Painter. He's the founder of Alpine Property Management, and with over 12 years of experience and more than 250 properties currently under management across the metro, he's got the exact 2026 data we need. He manages properties in both of the target markets we're looking at today, which gives us a completely unfiltered, side-by-side comparison based on real numbers, not just guesses. So here is our roadmap for today's comparison. We'll be covering 1. The state line divide, 2. Entry prices and rents, 3. Taxes and regulations, 4. Schools and economic catalysts, and finally, 5. Choosing your investment strategy. Okay, let's get into it.
Section 1. The state line divide.
On the surface, Overland Park, Kansas, and Lee Summit, Missouri look incredibly similar. They're both top-tier A and B-class suburban markets. They both boast fantastic school districts, booming populations, and the kind of high-quality tenant pools that make property management an absolute breeze compared to lower-cost neighborhoods. But because they sit on opposite sides of that state line, they operate under entirely different tax structures, different legal frameworks, and distinct economic drivers. They are essentially two totally different worlds sharing one metropolitan area.
Section 2. Entry prices and rents.
Entry price is the ultimate barrier for investors, right? And the gap here, it is massive. Right now in 2026, Overland Park demands a real premium, with median prices stretching all the way up to $495,000. But then look at Lee Summit, coming in between $380,000 and $460,000 across all major data sources. You can enter this market with significantly less capital, and that unlocks much better leverage ratios on financed acquisitions. But here's where the math gets really interesting. While Overland Park commands higher absolute rents, pulling in up to $2,200 a month for a 3-bedroom home, the rent gap is surprisingly narrow. Over in Lee Summit, those exact same types of homes are pulling in up to $2,000. It's crazy. Notice how the rents actually converge, even though the entry prices remain miles apart. And that narrowing gap, that creates an absolute aha moment for your ROI. Because you're paying less to get into Lee Summit, but you're still capturing highly competitive rents, Lee Summit actually takes the advantage on gross yield. It offers a cap rate advantage that reaches up to 5.5% compared to Overland Park's ceiling of about 4.5%. So if immediate, day one, financed returns are your main priority, the math clearly points to the Missouri side of the border. Section 3. Taxes and regulations. Before we compare the final tax numbers, we really need to understand the Kansas tax structure. Overland Park uses the mill levy system. Under this system, your residential property is only assessed at 11.5% of its appraised market value. Combine that with the fact that Overland Park has the lowest mill levy of any first-class city in Kansas, and it creates a highly predictable, relatively low carrying cost for investors. You literally know exactly what to expect year over year. But cross that border into Missouri, and that predictability just vanishes. Residential property in Lee's Summit is assessed at a much steeper 19% of market value. And worse, recent reassessment controversies in Jackson County have caused some sharp, pretty volatile tax spikes. Is it cheaper to buy? Yes. But your ongoing tax burden? That can be a real wild card. However, Missouri punches back hard in the regulatory arena. Because remember, the state line isn't just geographic, it's legal. Missouri offers a fundamentally more landlord-friendly framework. In Lee Summit, there's no rent control, you can collect up to 2 months of rent for a security deposit, and the eviction processes are highly efficient. Over in Overland Park, Kansas, the laws are definitely a bit more restrictive. You're limited to a 1-month security deposit for unfurnished rentals, and there are stricter tenant protections along with strict 30-day deposit return laws. Kansas is still decent for landlords for sure, but Missouri undeniably gives you a lot more operational leverage.
Section 4. Schools and economic catalysts.
So Overland Park's property values are heavily insulated, and here is exactly why. First, you've got the elite Blue Valley School District. It's consistently ranked the #1 district in the metro, and it effortlessly attracts professionals earning over $100,000 a year. Then you add massive corporate anchors like Fiserv, bringing in 2,000 jobs by 2030. But the real game changer? The nearby $4 billion Panasonic EV plant. That massive investment is generating incredible downstream housing demand right into Overland Park. It is quite literally a corporate-fueled economic fortress.
Conversely, Lee's Summit is playing a slightly different game. Their growth trajectory isn't reliant on a single massive corporate anchor. Instead, it's fueled primarily by massive family migration. People are absolutely flocking to the A+ rated Lee's Summit R7 schools, and pairing that with a more affordable suburban living environment. Add in an incredibly successful historic downtown revitalization that's created phenomenal walkability and commercial amenities, and you have a market driven deeply by quality of life factors.
Section 5. Choosing your investment strategy.
So what does this all mean? It all comes down to aligning the market with your specific timeline. If your strategy is pure appreciation and you plan to hold for 10 years or more, Overland Park is absolutely your match. Its historic price resilience during market corrections, plus those massive corporate anchors, create a floor under property values that is incredibly hard to beat. But if you want balanced cash flow, like if you need stronger financed returns from day one without sacrificing tenant quality, Lee's Summit is your winner, thanks to those lower entry points and slightly better cap rates.
But hey, the ultimate twist for savvy 2026 investors isn't really about picking sides at all. According to the experts at Alpine Property Management, the smartest play is strategically blending both. By building a portfolio that includes properties on both sides of the state line, you instantly diversify. You aren't tied solely to Kansas's strict deposit laws, nor are you entirely exposed to Missouri's volatile property taxes. You get to capture Overland Park's corporate-backed appreciation and Lee's Summit's immediate cash flow. It's the best of both worlds.
So, as you review the wealth of data we've covered in this explainer, you really have to ask yourself a fundamental question. Based on your current capital and your timeline, which lever are you trying to pull for your portfolio this year? Are you playing the long game for pure appreciation? Are you hunting for balanced cash flow? Or are you finally ready to diversify across the border? The data is clear, the choice is yours.